Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Performance Revolution web series. We're really excited about this conversation today around rooms to dining rooms, strategies to drive results in Canadian hospitality. My name is Matt Rolfe. I'm a hospitality leadership coach, and we designed this episode over the last few months because we feel there's so much insight and perspective from the hotel and lodging space that can impact all hospitality operators. So I'm really excited to have Tracy and Barb with us today, but we're going to jump right in. Tracy, what I'd love for you to do before you answer this question is just give the audience a bit of an intro of who you are. But one thing that I'd love to know is what trends are you currently seeing in Alberta tourism that will really impact the rest of the country?
Yeah, I'm Tracy Douglas Blowers. I'm the president and CEO of the Alberta Hotel and Lodging Association. We're the official health and safety association for Alberta hotels and convention centers. And we're also the industry association for hotels. So we're really the voice of the hotel industry in Alberta. And I'm incredibly proud that we represent over 80% of the guest rooms in the province. We represent everything from small mom and pop hotels in Milk River and Zama, all the way up to the largest downtown business hotels and resorts. So got a really robust membership, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. Some of the trends that we've heard, particularly coming out of the summer, with the larger economic and political trends that are happening, we definitely have heard from our members that Canadians were staying home and traveling in Canada this year. We heard from hotels across the province that they had a really strong summer, particularly in the Bow Valley, so Banff, Canmore. Calgary had a very strong summer as well with the G7 summit and some really big citywide conventions, and a strong stampede with great weather, which always helps. So, and interestingly, we heard that Americans were continuing to travel to Alberta, which is great news. I think a lot of that is driven by the strength of the U.S. dollar. When you're picking up an additional 35% of value on your travel spend, that's significant. I'm not sure that every province in our country is seeing that same American traveler coming, but we certainly heard in Alberta that they were continuing to come. And I was in Banff last week, actually, and an incredible number of U.S. license plates down Banff Avenue. So definitely seeing that traffic, and it's still here. I mean, we're well into mid-September, and Banff was busy last week. So we're definitely hearing that shoulder season that used to kind of drop off after the Labor Day weekend, that's extended and is going even well beyond Thanksgiving now, which is great news. So in Alberta, we've had some big progress on air access. Travel Alberta has done an incredible amount of work at developing air access. We're landlocked. We don't have people coming from across the ocean directly, but Travel Alberta has done a great job of growing air access, which has made a real positive impact. One of the concerns that we've heard, though, is that as Canadians are traveling less to the U.S., those empty seats flying back or lower occupancy seats flying back to the U.S., that may have an impact on some of those flights that have been added to Alberta. So we're obviously concerned about that. We think the existing political and economic situation, there's actually a bit of an opportunity to tap into international markets that are sort of maybe not as hungry to travel to the U.S. They still want to come to North America. We've got amazing tourism product, especially here in Alberta, that's really appealing. And so we think there's an opportunity there to probably grow some markets that we haven't focused on as much. And I would say, particularly in this economic environment, there's a growing realization that tourism is kind of a tariff-resistant export. And governments are recognizing that we maybe have not leveraged the full potential of tourism. So I'm really excited that both the new federal government and our provincial government are sort of seeing tourism and hospitality as more of a potential economic driver, and they're making really intentional policy decisions and investments to help grow that. For example, last year, the government of Alberta implemented its new tourism strategy. It's a 10-year tourism strategy, and it's aggressive to grow tourism, to double it actually to $25 billion in revenue by 2035. And they've put a lot of investment and a lot of policy purpose behind that, which is great news. And just in 2024 alone, we saw tourism expenditures increase by 12%, which is significant. Other provinces are not seeing that kind of growth. So I think it goes to show that as a province, when we start making those really intentional policy decisions and putting our shoulder into it, that there's lots of opportunity there.
And I think for any operator that's watching this, we have leading indicators in trends and looking at Alberta within Canada and the hotel industry, but we're seeing tourism up, we're seeing stays or visits up, and these are all indicators that when these guests are in these communities or traveling through ours, no matter where they are, that it's an opportunity for us all to have more guest traffic. And if we were to look back 6 months, we're having a discussion around guest traffic decline. And I do want to share with the audience now those trends are changing. So we are seeing a 3 to 4% projected increase in guest traffic. The question is, what are you doing inside the four walls of your operation to capture that and optimize it? And Barbara, great to see you again, and so excited to have you in this conversation. I'd love you just to introduce yourself to the audience, but talk about procurement trends that we need to consider, whether you're in the hotel space or not, to stay pace with what's ahead.
Oh, for sure. Thank you, Matt. Barbara Bell, I'm with Integra, and a national account executive, and I have the pleasure of working with Tracy and the AHLA this last year. So it's been very exciting for me to learn the Alberta hotel sector as I do sit here in BC. So, but what we're really seeing overall in the lodging sector and also the food service sector is the data. So instead of using our gut instincts where we think, oh, I think this is going to happen, our hoteliers and business partners are using data for their analytics to determine where to go, what to do. Now we have just implemented an ePro, which is a paid procurement platform that helps them to see in real time where their procurement is going. So working with your GPO partner can really help you to see that and to make really strong analytical decisions, and especially when you have multiple locations, right? Yes, it's great for one, but when you have multiple locations and you can see across all of them. The other thing is sustainability. Like the sustainability thing is big right now from many different areas, of reduction of plastics to, eco-friendly in the OS&E, FF&E sector, right? MSC certified. So this is a big demand from the consumers coming in. I know I was talking to one property in Alberta, one of the flagship properties in Alberta, and they wanted to know, is it Canadian driven? Is it Canadian driven? Is it local? Is it they wanted to see it, and not only just in the restaurants, but in the rooms too. Like, what are you using on your bedding? What are you using, and who are you supporting? So that's a big one, and that's again where we as a procurement partner can help you to identify this. We can help you find supply sources, because that is the big other one that is always a challenge for the operators is supply chain. Yeah. Supply chain, rising cost, supply chain. and if you can't do it alone, you can't do it alone anymore. You just can't. And you can't. You got to use your hotel association, your AHLA folks. Yep. You got to use your procurement people. You need to work together for everybody to see how you can reduce costs and improve your supply chain. So that's all I have for you, Matt.
But I just want to say, doesn't this feel positive from where we were? Think about what we're talking about. There's a projection in Alberta to double tourism off a remarkable base. One of the most beautiful places, destinations globally in the world that set a plan to double. And then we're looking at the ability to work with our partners. And this isn't something just to say anymore. You need to work with your associations and your partners to maximize. So if we have more guest traffic, Wouldn't it be bad if we didn't have the right product to get to them, whether it be a physical space or a product on their table, or if we couldn't get it to them profitably? At the same time, how do we work through? And that's why, Tracy, I'd love to come back to you and think about, what I'm always so impressed with is the innovation and that data focused of the hotel sector. But what type of innovation trends or focuses are you seeing that you feel that operators should pay the most attention to right now?
I would just pick up on a thread that Barbara mentioned about working together. The ability to sort of leverage economies of scale is so critical. And, we've seen a lot of consolidation happening over the last, I would say, 18 months. We're seeing properties that were individually owner operated. Those are being bought up, often by Alberta-based companies, which is great, but it's a real recognition that if you want to be profitable, you really do need to have that scale. And so one way to do that is obviously by purchasing existing businesses, but it's also by working with a GPO like Integra on your purchasing. And it's by working together, whether it's with your local association, whether it's your provincial association or your national association. It's so hard for any one hotel to be able to move the needle on whether we're talking about an advocacy issue or we're talking about procurement and their pricing. But by coming together and working with other hotels, you can really see the difference that you can make in terms of leveraging your spend and leveraging your influence.
And one thing that I'm most impressed with when I look at the associations or partners like a GPO is to revisit the conversation. It's not transactional. Like neither relationship with either of you here and your teams are transactional. They care about the success of your operation. And this isn't just to position this, but I agree if there's an opportunity to have different perspective, different experience, competitive set of information, or to find more community. But the key thing is you may have a relationship now. How could you revisit it for the last few months of this year and forward to 26? What's possible in your partnerships? And just review. And but like one thing, if an operator came to you today and they're looking for procurement to really solve one challenge in their business, like what is one thing that you're hearing most from your partners, one area of the business they're trying to focus on, or one solution that they could go deeper on that could impact them, not 26, but heading into the final months of 2025?
Oh my.
Oh my
God, it's I deal with it every day. So one area that I really see is the MOR is the services, the service area that is going up and up, like elevators, camera security. I think an issue within the Alberta sector is public safety, and these are areas that the costs continue to rise, and they're trying to go it alone, right? And they're trying to make a partnership with a vendor partner that they just don't have that leverage, like Tracy talks about, that leverage that they can do, or insight, of who is available. I just met a company yesterday that I had no idea that existed, and we were able to bring in for a very large hotel in Vancouver on security, data and digital, like cameras and things like that I had no idea about. And I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, this is awesome. I got to move this forward and bring them forward to more hoteliers, right? So, and because if you utilize the AHL and Integra, then you go take care of your guests, right? Because those guests are paying more, right? They're not paying $150. They want better guest experience, whether they're $450 or, Tofino $1,200. They want that. And so allow your association and your procurement partners to take care of this business for you while you go in, increase on that guest experience and continue to be able to get that monies that you need to continue to, as costs rise, right? So,
Barbara, I think that's a great point. And one of the things that we've really realized over the last, I would say, 5 years is how complex some of the verticals of business are. And hoteliers are busy. They're running their properties. They're trying to deliver a great guest experience. They're trying to elevate their staff and empower them to deliver those great experiences. And having trusted advisors that you can work with, that you can feel really confident are going to be with you over the long term. And they're not just there to sell you a product today or a contract for the next year. Someone who's really been with you over the long term and who's going to be with you over the long term and isn't just looking to deliver value to their shareholder, but really wants to ensure your business is successful. That's what we're really hearing, is people just don't know who to trust. And so having, again, those trusted partners who are looking out for your long-term interest is so important.
Well, I was talking with one of our customers, and he's like, look, I'm sitting in these rocks, amongst these rocks, Barbara. And I'm busy 365 days of the year. How do I get to know what's new out there? And I'm like, for sure. Okay. So then you Google it. Well, what happens there? It takes you spend time and time and time versus I said, okay, phone me. And I will be, one point of contact, and we have this, then we can help you, as we network with other customers and network with other vendors. That's where, it's similar to the association, where you have this incredible amount of knowledge within that association that you get to tap into. Like, everybody out there, lean in. We're here, so anyways.
And that's one thing I get the opportunity to work with some great brands, independents all the way up to national or global brands, and just focus on technology for a second. One thing that we talk about is, does it find time, drive top line or deliver bottom line? And have they done it before? No judgment if they haven't. If they want to trial with you, sure, but they've got to make a partner investment. But we're seeing such great technology. If you're in the hotel space, what's coming with vision? So cameras, we're currently working with ex-Meta execs. It is going to be it's not later, it's now. And the early adopters will see the benefit of that. But there's so many of these solutions to go to your association or to go to your GPO and say, what do you see? Because just like in my business, I don't see outside the four walls of my business all the time. There's someone we do have to jump into, and it's because it's important. I think it's looking at today, but looking forward. And Tracy, one thing I just love your perspective on a potential labor situation. We might use old language of labor shortage, but what's the reality when it comes to the labor markets that you're hearing from your partners, and on a bigger picture that we can all just listen to and start to plan against?
What we have been hearing from our members, and this is kind of across the province, there is a little geographic variety, but the labor shortages that we were experiencing coming out of the pandemic have certainly eased. But we recognize that access to international labor pools is going to be reduced. And so we really need to turn our focus to domestic labor. The provincial government in Alberta has just come out with some new mandate letters for ministers. And it's clear that they are really wanting to focus on getting youth employed. We think that that is a tremendous opportunity in the hotel and the hospitality industry, because we offer great careers. And for a lot of people, it's an entry-level opportunity, and they maybe want to stay in the industry as they are going to school, because there's flexibility. There's peak times during the summer when students are off, and they can work more hours. But recognizing also that this is not just a place for a job until you get your real job. There are so many people in Alberta who have been in this industry for 20, 30, 40 years, and they've had great careers, and they've built great legacies in the industry. And I think really, telling that story, that this is an industry where we're working when other people are playing. But it's a fun industry. It's never the same day in a hotel. And having worked in restaurants too, I can say, your guests are always different. you just never know what is going to happen when you come to work on any given day. And that's part of the fun of the industry. So I think really recognizing that, as an industry, we need to do a better job of telling the story of the great careers that there are. And we also need to make sure that we're making our workplaces safe and healthy and competitive. People have lots of choice about where they want to work. And so we need to be going beyond just, compliance with employment standards and occupational health and safety. And we're really excited because next month we're going to be launching our new Elevate Human Resources and Health and Safety program and designation. And that's really designed to help hotels ensure that they are not just meeting compliance standards in Alberta, but that they're going above and beyond and they're being recognized for that. And ensuring that we are offering workplaces that are attractive and compelling and make great places to stay, whether you are a guest or you're an employee.
No, I love it. I think that the theme of telling the story and a path to leadership so people can stay in our industry. Before I come back to you for a rapid fire final question, I was walking in Banff as a 14-year-old kid, and I looked into this room, and it was 12 ski instructors sleeping on the floor. And in that moment, I made my decision. I'm going to be a ski instructor. I'm going to work at a hotel. I took a tourism management program at Georgian College, and 25 years later, I'm still in the industry that I love, but I started exactly. It's not something to move through. It creates opportunity inside hotels. And until you've been there to know how many departments they have, how much growth, how much scale, and how much personal development, I think it really is one of the best springboards into this industry or into management and leadership. But one thing I'd love just the audience to know, from both of you, and Barbara, I'll start with you first, is if somebody wanted to come to you and ask for help, what is the one thing you would promote to people? Say, if you're focused on this, reach out, we can help here. And Tracy, I'll come back to the same question of, how can the association help today?
Lowering costs and improving your supply chain. It's truly those two things that's what we're here for. And because we are a global procurement, as a hotelier, you think locally. I get that. But as a procurement partner, you want to think globally. So the bigger the procurement part of the board leverage. So you have all our leverage and to utilize that in your purchasing powers. Plus we have all the data and the digital tools for you to analyze, get into and lean into that are, tried and true, right? And category management, right? So we have people that take care of that category management for you and that we are responsible for the supply chain. We look for better deals, access to different vendors all the time for you while you go back and take care of those wonderful guests.
Tracy, what about you? What would you recommend that people in the province reach out to or just to their association in general for help?
Yeah, well, as I said earlier, our core purpose is to help our members prosper. And we do that by bringing hotels together. Again, hotels are so much more powerful when they work together, whether it's through a GPO or whether it's through their association. And, obviously our purposes are both a little different, but I think they're very complementary. And I think the ethos is the same. It's very hard to be in this business on your own. And by coming together and working with trusted advisors, you are so much in a better position than you are just by kind of being out there by yourself. So it's easy to feel like you're on your own, especially when you're a solitary owner or general manager. Reach out because I can tell you, and I'm sure Barbara, you would say the same. If one hotel is having a challenge or a problem, there are many others like them. They just don't know it.
For sure. And to add, Tracy, back to our conversation of being in this industry, I started in it too. And I was I think 8 years old. I think, Matt, I told you the story, cleaning my dad's bathroom in his pub. And now look at where I am today. And I've stayed within the hospitality industry, right? So it is a fantastic industry to be in. And it is one that has many, many different avenues that you can go. So when you think about that too, when you think about leaning into your association or your GPO partner, think about all the people with all the knowledge and history and and that you can tap into for free. Like just phone up and say, let's have a conversation, and we're here, So anyways,
and we're here to serve.
Yes, for sure.
And I hope the audience sees that. And I just want to say thank you to Integra for making this conversation possible. But you have two remarkable leaders in our industry that are on here just giving back and are creating opportunities to serve their members or their partners, because we can't do it alone. That might be the title of my book, so I don't want to shamelessly plug it. It's called You Can't Do It Alone. It's not sad. You might give me trouble for that. But to close out our episode, so much power and insight in this quick conversation. Thank you to you both for bringing your experience forward. And thank you to our partners at Integra for making this possible.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Matt.
Barbara. Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, thank you, Tracy. It's been fun. Thank you.
Smart businesses are working with group purchasing organizations. Smarter businesses are working with Integra. That's because we are much more than a GPO. We provide more experience, more product categories, and more operational solutions. Integra is expert advice, quality and flexibility, purchasing power, and partnership to optimize your operations, elevating guest experience while saving on goods and services with the insights to keep your operations ahead. We know the challenges of operating in restaurants, lodging, senior living, golf, leisure, faith-based organizations, education, and acute care. So we provide services and solutions to help you maximize your profit margins. Save up to 30% on nearly everything you buy. From food to furniture, fixtures, uniforms, linens, capital equipment, services, energy, cleaning, and even training. Add in advice from experts who know your industry, and there's no better partner to take on inflation than Integra. With a deep bench of procurement experts monitoring prices, contracts, and supply chains, we help you find cost-effective ingredient options that exceed your customers' expectations. At Integra, your spend is always in your view and in your control, with data analytics and digital tools to ensure you're always getting the insights to operate more efficiently. Gain easy access to temporary and long-term staffing, your most frequently purchased products, and solutions for waste reduction and energy usage to keep your customers returning and your operations thriving. Unlock expert insights, unmatched purchasing, and unlimited performance for your business. Meet Integra and see the difference today.